What is up, NFC East football fans, and welcome into another edition of the NFC East Roundtable, powered by BetUS. Week 15 is in the books. 4 games for us to recap for you tonight. 3 W's within the division, 1 loss, but I got a feeling my main man KB might take that loss in stride and count it as a win at this time of the season. Going to be looking a little bit different tonight. We got some fellas who couldn't be with us this evening. We got some awesome fill-ins. So we're going to have a great show for you tonight here on the NFL Week 15 recap episode of the NFC East Roundtable. Without further ado, let's bring in the aforementioned KB, who is going to, once again, like I said, take that loss in stride. We're going to talk about that Giants game this evening and talk about how it's probably a bit better that the Giants found a way to not get it done against the Baltimore Ravens. Filling in for Jay Tuck tonight is my man, John Dow. John, good to have you in on the program. Filling in for Rio tonight is my man, Lou. Lou, good to have you as well. Al is not going to be here with us tonight. I'm kind of bummed for him because that was a big game, the Battle of Pennsylvania, that Al and his Eagles took this past week, but we'll still talk about those Eagles nonetheless. And speaking of which, let's head over to BetUS. Haven't checked the updated odds, fellas, as to who is supposed to win this division based on those odds. I got a feeling it is still those Philadelphia Eagles. In fact, not only do I know it's going to be those Eagles, I'm dying to see what the odds have updated to. So let's go ahead and take a look. I want to see where Lou, I want to see where your Commanders are at this point right now. They're still certainly in it, but the odds are changing all the time. Right now over on BetUS, as of course, I don't know what it is, fellas. I've been using Safari instead of Chrome, and it just does not work. I don't know what it is. It works 365 days out of the year, or 364 days out of the year, I should say. And the one time I need it to work, it won't. So yeah, let me pull it up real quick. But anyway,
Chrome all the way.
Chrome, I know. Why don't I just use it off the bat? Wouldn't that just make the most sense? I think I should probably start doing that.
Come on now.
Here we go. As I'm thinking about it, I'm like, man, who the hell even uses Safari anymore? Here I am.
Schools, I don't know.
I know. All right, finally, here we're. All right, so Lou, I thought we were gonna have the old college try here, but it's plus 5,000 for the Commanders on the odds to win the division right now on BetUS. Philadelphia minus 20,000. So this is essentially all but locked up, but we do know that there's a matchup that still lies ahead. So potentially things could swing. We will see what happens. But Philadelphia, of course, the way that things have been going for them, you wouldn't know that they're dominating based on what's going on the sideline seemingly every week. Philadelphia clearly in big command right now to win the division on BetUS, minus 20,000. Washington plus 5,000. If you want to get in on the long shot for the Commanders to win the division, you can do so on BetUS using the promo code YouTube150. That'll get you 150% sign-up bonus, up to $2,000 on your first deposit, and 125% bonus on your next 2 after that. All right, fellas, let's dive into it. I can't believe Week 15 is already over and we're going into Week 16. It's real bittersweet. And as we transition into talking about the games from this past weekend and on the topic of bittersweet, let's start with KB's New York Giants, because it's bittersweet. You lose, but at the same time, you win. Now, the big thing we were talking about with this game, KB, last week was that 17-point spread. We were wondering, I don't know, I don't think the Giants are going to win this game, but can they cover the spread? They could not. 35-14 was the final. The Ravens go into East Rutherford and get it done with ease. Lamar Jackson, unreal day. 21-25 against the Giants, 290 yards. 5 touchdowns. It was a collaborative effort at quarterback for the Giants. Tim Boyle getting some reps in. 12-24 for Tim Boyle. Tommy DeVito, 10-13 for 68 yards. Another one of those games where it just feels like, what did we say last week, KB? It's just Giants football. It's just Giants
football, man. Yeah.
Lou, I'll start with you, man. We obviously haven't heard from you this season. So what's your whole take on the Giants right now and how you view them moving forward based on what's happened this year?
I'm jealous of the Giants. They know how to tank correctly. I mean, they're a team. They have made some questionable decisions. I didn't believe in, paying Daniel Jones. They did it. I didn't believe in letting Saquon go. But I guess Joe Shane is finally going to get it right. Hopefully, they're making their way up in the tankathon, and I'm jealous of that because there is a significant drop off with the first half of this draft class. So, yeah, I mean, it's all about building the foundation. Going to the before you got to go to the grocery store, you need to go check the fridge and make sure what you got. So you don't
Yeah.
So I'm jealous of that. So yeah.
Actually, a really good point you make. It's not easy to tank correctly, and I feel like we've seen time and time again teams definitely not do it. It seems like the Giants are, up until this point at least, doing a pretty good job of it. John, your thoughts on it?
It's hilarious. So for those who don't know and don't follow me, shout out to the fellas, but I am in an NFC East household, not just here on YouTube, but in my actual house. I'm the Comics fan, dad's the Cowboys, sister's the Philly, mom's the Giants. So I am laughing every
Wow,
single
that's crazy.
Yeah. I got nothing but beef in this house.
My God.
Were you guys like assigned that? What are the chances that you guys are literally the whole NFC East is in the house?
Hey.
Assigned that birth.
They got to do a 30 for 30 on your family, man. They got
They do.
ASAP. That's crazy, dude.
Oh, that's hilarious. Wow.
Man. But it's great because the Eagles do great in 2018. They kind of fall off the cliff. Cowboys do great for the last 3 years, kind of fall off the cliff. The Giants are still at the bottom of that cliff. It's still.
But John, you've been
back up.
waiting though. You've been waiting in your house for your time here, though, man. You got to be.
I'm sitting there just like,
right now.
I was like, it's great down here, guys.
Man, dude, you got me kind of thrown off right now. I cannot believe that. I've never heard anything like that.
Yeah,
that's crazy. We're gonna have to talk about that off camera sometime. I've never heard of anything like that. KB, we'll take it, right? Not bad in terms of what we're hoping for at this point, right? But when we're looking at that 17-point spread, I'm sure even you wanting to lose, you're still hoping, man, and they keep it competitive. And it just, I honestly felt like it wound up being lucky to be 35-14 the way it wound up going. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. And to your point, not in the slightest. I didn't care what the score was at all. I don't care. I don't care if they're gonna cover the spread or whatever. Stay competitive. Listen, half those guys I feel like are gonna be replaced at some point in the next 2 years. They're just trash. So the whole roster needs to be revamped and kind of stripped down to the bottom. Besides a couple of players here and there, you don't even ask me about specific details about the game because it was all a blur. I just didn't care. I was just literally watching casually. I was probably paying attention more to red zone than I was the actual game. I was just staring at the score. But yeah, listen, the biggest storyline of this Giants game is that there was another airplane above MetLife Stadium, sending another message to John Mara, which I think is hilarious. Being that John Mara said it's John Mara's fault, to be honest, because I think a couple of years ago he said the worst point in time he was the Giants owner or in the Giants facility was in the 70s when planes were flying over the stadium, sending messages. So they're just repeating it all over again, trying to, I guess, recreate the 80s and the success of the Giants and try to kickstart that. But that was the biggest highlight. Malik Neighbors is very close to 1,000 yards. He had 82 yards on the day. Other than that, I don't care. The Giants have their own version of TB12 in Tim Boyle. And how about Tim Boyle, everybody? So yeah, Tommy DeVito was terrible. I mean, like 13 attempts or 13 complete, who knows, 68 yards. Terrible. Brian Daboll probably. Listen, I've said this many times. If Brian Daboll and Joe Shane still have their jobs, that means that they're tanking. It's an obvious tank. Now, I think they're tanking already. A lot of Giants fans think that the Giants are just that terrible. Brian Daboll found a way to overachieve 2 years with this roster. They made the playoffs in 2022 in his first season, and they found a way in hell to win 6 games last season, which shouldn't have happened with Tommy DeVito. So I think this is them tanking, and I will reserve my thoughts on Brian Daboll. Not Joe Shane, because I think he's a terrible drafter, but Brian Daboll. I'll reserve my thoughts on him if they are indeed tanking and saying this is not the best product he's putting out there. They're just trying to find a way to get that number 1 pick. And then we'll see who that pick is, whether it be Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders. But yeah, that's everything I just talked about was more so about things around the Giants more so than the game, because I just didn't care. So.
You really think there's a universe where both Shane and Daboll have their job at this time next year?
If they're tanking. If they're tanking, I don't, because John Mara is a guy that wants to win no matter what. I've said this multiple times on the show. He doesn't care if the team is 1-15. He wants to win that last game. Like, he is a competitor at heart, and he wants to get back to the old Giants days. He fires people quick. I mean, after Tom Coughlin, coaches don't last more than 2 years here. So this is Brian Dable's third year. This is his worst year. I could imagine, and Joe Shane, although he had a good draft class, his record with everything else is just terrible. If they both do, keep their jobs, they're tanking, because that means they're, as a collective, saying, listen, we need to get the best picks possible to try to, revamp this team. Maybe Joe Shane convinced John Mara for his plan. But yeah, I think there is a universe they both keep their jobs, and it will be a sad one, because you would not know what to expect. At least if both of them are fired, you could expect something different. We don't know what to expect if they keep their jobs.
So do you think it's all or none, or do you still think there's a possibility that Shane goes, Dable stays?
I think, in my opinion, that's probably most deserving. I think Shane should go automatically. I would not lose sleep at the end of the day if Shane goes. I would want to keep on to Brian Dable, but just looking at the product on the field, I mean, I wouldn't blame them if they got rid of both of them. But there is a possibility one stays and one goes, whether that be Dable staying or Shane staying. I don't know. But it's up in the air. We don't really know. John Mara is unpredictable at this point. I would have thought he would have fired both of them already, and he hasn't. So seeing two airplanes in the sky, literally with his name on it, I would think that he's going haywire right now. So, yeah.
Man, it's going to be a really interesting offseason for the Giants in a variety of different ways. That's certainly, of course, going to be one of the main things we focus in on. Who's going to stay, who's going to go, and if they do go, who's coming in? I mean, that's the question right now. Everybody's talking about head coaches, and if Dable leaves, I got a feeling he gets a job because of the amount of jobs that are going.
I think so,
open, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
A lot going on. Let's talk about a team that's similar to the New York Giants and have been for a little while here in the Carolina Panthers. They took on the Dallas Cowboys. Lou, your Dallas Cowboys, who all of a sudden, and I'm not sure how happy you are about this, but out of nowhere the last couple of weeks, man, they're playing some ball here. I mean, it was a couple of weeks too late.
Cooper Rush, baby. Come on.
Rush, baby. Big time rush. After all the injuries lined up, man, it looks like they're starting to get things together. Cooper Rush, real decent day. 18-29, 214, 3 TDs. And you might be saying to yourself, well, Bot, it's against the Panthers. Who cares? Panthers were favored to win this game. So it wasn't like this was anything that was supposed to be expected here.
Almost beat the Chiefs.
I know it. I mean, think about it. They've been playing really well. They almost beat the Eagles, had them on the ropes. So Panthers playing real well. But you know what? This seemed a little too easy, fellas. As soon as the Panthers got a little bit of respect, right, you knew it was going to have to go and do a 180. That's exactly what it did. Cowboys double them up with ease. Rico Dowdle, man, been playing some real solid ball the last couple of weeks. As I mentioned, Cooper Rush stepped up. What do you know? Another awesome evening from CeeDee Lamb. This team has the pieces when they're playing, collective effort, when they're putting together a collective effort, rather, I should say. Dallas still is able to put out some good football on the field. KB, what are your thoughts on Dallas? I'm interested to know from you. Had they got this going a couple of weeks earlier, even with the Dak Prescott injury, do you still think there would have been, something to fight for there in Dallas this season?
I mean, yeah, I think so, but how far are you really going to go with Cooper Rush? I mean, let's be real here. I mean, if I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm definitely rooting for the tank as well. And Jay Tuck was when he was here last week, he was hoping Carolina. I think he was hoping Carolina would pull it off. I think he predicted the Cowboys to mess it up and win the game. He did. He predicted it, so he was correct. He knows his team. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to the Cowboys, they have a decent roster. It's not terrible at all, especially their star players are like top tier talent. Dak, CD, Micah, like they got a lot of star studded players over there. It's just a matter of execution and figuring it all out and next man up, because they've had some injuries as well, especially at the quarterback position. Dak Prescott is a guy, like if you lose him, potentially the season's over. But they got a lot of fight in them. As far as how the game went, I wasn't able to catch the game, but I know it was pretty close up until like the second quarter. Then they started to pull away. I think it was like 10-0 at some point. Then they started to pull away. So it is what it is. I think if Philly loses next week, they still have a chance in the play. I don't think they're not eliminated yet, right? They're not eliminated from playoff contention. I mean, so apparently you guys got something to fight for. Who knows? Micah I literally just read just now. Micah Parsons says that he does not care. He's not rooting for Philly. If they get eliminated, they get eliminated. But he hates Philly. I like the mentality. I love it. He's a fighter for sure. Yeah, as far as the Cowboys goes, I would be rooting for losses, man. I would be rooting for losses, but they can't lose like the Giants can.
Yeah, nobody does it better.
Something to be proud of, man.
The football Giants, baby. I love it. John, talk to me because obviously I haven't had you on the show this year. So your thoughts on Dallas this year and kind of what you've seen from them.
Man, I've been talking with this because we do a lot of recording with Cowboys Can Fan podcast. Shout out to the fellas up north. And I love to get them junk saying, y'all in the sweepstakes for Ashton Genty, y'all in the sweepstakes for Luther Burden, y'all could be in the sweepstakes for Cam Ward or Jalen Milroe if y'all really tried for it.
Draft Milroe, please. Draft Milroe. Please do it.
What I want them to do is draft Carson Beck.
Oh, yes. Yes.
No, see that? Yeah, I see.
He looks like a Dallas Cowboy, baby. Yes. Because if they get Genty, I'm going to cry.
Get Jared a nice tall glass of white milk in that locker room. He's good to go for the rest of his time. No, but y'all have always had good pieces. Micah, Lane Vander Esch, y'all just lost to DeMarvin Overshown, who I've been a fan of since Texas, and I texted the fellas, like, dude, been a fan of his. Otherwise against us, tough loss for y'all because y'all cannot stay with injuries. Trevon Diggs out again. Mm-hmm. Y'all losing tackles and receivers. I mean, y'all having what? Jalen Tolbert as your 2.
It's hard out here.
I mean, good talent. I mean, you're in the NFL for a reason, but I mean,
right.
Worst wide receiver core in the division now?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Both the Cowboys Commanders should have lost the game a few weeks ago. There was no business being that destructive in the fourth quarter. We both should have lost that game. That was outrageous. But I mean, y'all beat the Panthers. Good on y'all. We did too. Good on us. So did Philly. Good on them. I don't know if the Giants have yet, or if they did.
We didn't, but that's okay. That started our tank tour, so we're okay.
All right, so the Panthers are 1-3 against the NFC East. That's fine by us. No, but y'all are what, 5-8, 6-8 right now?
5-9. I think they're 5-9 now.
Or 5-9.
No, 6-6. Because I think we have a chance to get 5.
Oh, 6-8.
Come on,
6-8. I'm thinking loss. Listen, my mind is thinking losses here. Okay, show me the losses, baby. Come on. That's it.
Nah, I mean they're 6-8. So I mean, if everyone in the entire NFC decide to lose the last 3 games, they have a shot. But if they lose next week, it's wraps for them. Might as well call it in. I might as well take the L out of Lover. It's over, brother. And start your free agency now. Whether it's new GM, new head coach, new ownership, you should have had.
New GM ain't happening. Not until Jerry croaks.
The new GM will happen when the new current owner decides to take his next step forward in mortality. But y'all have some work to do down there in Little D. I ain't calling it Big D no more. It's Little D because Houston took care of Texas.
There is certainly work to be done in the Little D. Lou, talk to me about your perspective on this season this year, because obviously it didn't go the way that you wanted to. But the interesting thing right now, I think, about Dallas is what it's going to look like moving forward. I just feel like there's so much uncertainty right now. In the best way you can put it, I guess, based on what you've seen this season, what's lying ahead, how do you view the future of the Dallas Cowboys right now?
Man, it's funny how y'all really think we got a good roster, man. I appreciate that. I really do.
Look at the Giants and then come back to me. Yeah. I would kill for your roster. All right.
I mean, if Micah wants to leave right now, I'll gladly take it.
The grass ain't greener. That's all I'm saying. The grass is not greener. It's not.
It's a better shade. It's a better shade.
But this season has been a blessing and a curse. Funny enough, obviously the curse is because we're losing and the injuries and everything like that. But the blessing is, finally, everyone who's not a fan of the Dallas Cowboys is seeing like how truly badly ran we actually are, and how, before when Cowboys fans talk about how operations work, people think we speak in conspiracy, but it's really not like that. Like we beat the Carolina Panthers, of course, but what if I told you like this? We could have been like this entire year, but ownership, even though they're GM, ownership, president, etc. What if I told you they also have their hand in the game plan? Like we haven't ran the ball until the times we actually have the run attempts. We won the game. Last time we had a high attempts, we beat Pittsburgh, which is a great defense, and we've been pushing. How we operate a lot differently, and that's what's frustrating about the Cowboys organization. We paid Dak and CD, and of course they was going to push that show. We had Dak passing the ball 50 times a game. They don't even have Patrick Mahomes passing the ball 50 times a game, but we're expecting, since we paid him all that money, he's got to go out there and lead us to victory. But like Rico Dowdle going off these last couple of weeks, that's what happens when you give him the ball. Like, in my opinion, we should have beat the Bengals, but we got cute and actually passed the ball. But so I feel like our roster is, I appreciate the compliments, but we're actually top heavy. And I mean, when in terms of competing for a Super Bowl, which we should have been this season with the 3-12-5 seasons, they set up Mike McCarthy. They actually did. Of course, they didn't bank on the injuries happen, but we had a wave of free agents leave, and we replaced them with nothing but rookies. Nothing, and I appreciate it. And we're gonna have another wave of free agencies. Free agents leave this offseason. Jordan Lewis, DeMarcus Lawrence. I'm blanking on one more. Osa Odigizua and Zach Martin. And if we replace them with rookies, we're gonna have a similar season that we have this year. And funny enough, y'all believe is Jerry Jones the GM? This is actually Stephen Jones's plan. Like, he's all pro budget, everything like that. So. Yeah, I mean, unless we actually do what y'all do and actually get active in the free agency and draft, because we actually a very good drafting team. Is just when you have 8 picks in a draft, you're only going to hit on probably about 2 to 3. That's realistic. But if you want to hit on all 8 plus undrafted free agents and compete with the Niners, Eagles, and the Chiefs every year and expect to win, that's where the delusion come in.
Micah Parsons going to be a Cowboy next year?
Oh, he's definitely gonna be a Cowboy next year. We have the money. All they have to do is restructure CD and Dak. They free up $100 million that way.
Wait. Y'all have money left?
We got $20 million right now. That's gonna roll over. When you restructure Dak's deal, you're gonna free up a whole bunch. And when you restructure CD's deal, that's gonna free up almost $100 million in cap.
But like you said, you gotta pay Zach Martin, All Pro, Pro Bowl, future.
He may actually walk.
Hall of Famer guard.
I think he might walk. Yeah. We may cut. We may cut.
DeMarcus is gone.
Yeah,
DeMarcus Lawrence, Jordan Lewis.
He's
did you already pay Trayvon? Did y'all pay Trayvon yet?
I think he's at the end of his contract, but
so y'all got
he took a team friendly too. So the next is up is Bland, but
you got to pay Devon Bland.
You got to play Tyler Smith. They have the money.
Tyler Smith.
They lie. Don't let them lie to you. The richest organization in the world, man. The one thing they can do well is act broke. They have the money. All they had to do is act. If you pay your players before August and September, you have the money. If you pay them in April, like a competent free
the only thing that sucks is that they wait last minute to pay their players. So
exactly, but they do it for the news line, so they can,
Dak Prescott when he got signed.
Yeah, Jerry's no dummy, man. He knows exactly what he's doing. Another interesting offseason, though, that I'm looking forward to watching unfold there in Dallas. I'm interested to see what kind of shakes down there. Also, one more question for you, Lou. Mike McCarthy coming back or no?
Yeah, so that's why, like, if we was to do a predictions for the games coming up, I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys actually win these next 3 games because, as you can see, the way, like, that's another blessing. They question our leadership, but these losses have really brought out the leadership in these guys. Now, finally, with Micah podcasting, he's actually saying he hates the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? So there's a different mentality, and I think these guys are going to play for Mike. And even though I hate it, but Mike, I think he can save his job. Especially with two wins out of the last 3.
Yeah, that's starting to seem more like what I'm hearing as opposed to what I was hearing 4 weeks ago, where it was guaranteed he's gone. Now all you're hearing is, I think he's saving his job. I think he's saving his job. So that's something to keep an eye on for sure out in Dallas the last couple of weeks here. All right, let's talk about those Commanders, man. This game was in the bag until it wasn't, but they did wind up leaving the grocery store with the groceries, luckily for you, John, right? 20-19 was the final, 14-0 the score for the Commanders at half. I don't really know what happened. I had Red Zone on on the side TV, and I keep looking over, and I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on here? Next thing I know, the Saints are lining up for a 2-point conversion to win this thing. Do not get it. The Commanders hold them. They get out of there with the W at this point of the year where the Commanders are at. All they need is that W. They don't care how they get them, but it was interesting to see how it wound up getting to where it did. But Jaden Daniels, man, what a hell of a day he had to help get them that W. 25 of 31, 226, and 2 TDs. A weird game, but a W nonetheless. KB, what was your takeaway from what the Commanders showed you against the Saints, a team that, your Giants had a very good chance of beating just a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, as far as the Commanders goes, that was a weird one to watch. I'll be honest with you. To be honest with you, it was almost a snooze fest, but the good plays were amazing. Like it was really boring, and then it would spike and peak up, like those 2 Terry McLaurin touchdowns, the Alvin Kamara, Cedric Wilson pass. Like there was a bunch of like crazy moments that happened, but the rest of it was kind of really slow.
Cedric Wilson, apparently.
I guess so. And this Jake Hayner guy, I don't even know why he got the start. He couldn't do anything. Yeah, it's got to be the looks, because he could not do anything in that game. And I'll be honest with you, if Spencer Rattler was starting that whole game, I gotta wonder if New Orleans actually comes out with a win there. They really like kind of sparked immediately. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, MVS, was just getting all these passes downfield, and they were starting to move the ball methodically and get down the field and score. And it came all the way down literally to the last play of the game. And the New Orleans Saints got to be tanking at this point, because there's no way you're going to try to score and beat a good Washington team. Like, you should be happy that you're even competing, New Orleans, right now. And instead of going into overtime and figuring it out, you try to put it all on one play versus Washington right now. I mean, you must not be trying to win the game. You must have just said, "Oh, we got close enough. We're trying to play for this draft pick." All right, Washington, you got it. Good game. Because I, as a coach, I would never do that. If I know that my team is not is one play, just one play, Washington versus New Orleans, I would not take them at all. So, it was a good game for New Orleans in competing. Sucks they didn't get the win, of course. I want to see Washington lose. But Jaden Daniels again had a really good game. I mean, him and Terry McLaurin, man, that chemistry is really, really looking good. I don't know if Jaden is dealing with some injuries. I don't know. He just didn't look as mobile as he used to. Like in the beginning of the season, he was pressured a lot, granted, and he was brought down a lot, but he just didn't look like quick twitch like I usually see him doing to get out to escape pressure. That's just what I observed when I was watching. But yeah, Washington still rolling. They got the W. Doesn't matter how many points it was by. They got the W and they move on. I think they're at 9 wins now, right?
Yep.
All right. So winning season there. So shout out to Washington, and they keep pushing forward.
And as Rio let us know, I forgot about this. Their first road win off a bye, right, in 22 years. So that's
Rio was talking about that. They broke the tradition.
This is over. Lou, what'd you think of these Commanders on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, I'm big shout out to the Commanders this season. Y'all playing with house money. No expectation. I expected this, especially from Dan Quinn, even though I don't believe he's a good coach. I don't think he's a coach for y'all in the future. I think he's building something. I feel like he's a coach where he's
Brian Dable.
Yeah, he can catch you the first time, but once everyone adjusts, then they got it. I feel like he doesn't have any, he's not a foundation setter in my opinion, but he is a galvanizer. He is a player's coach, and that's feeding into all those young guys he has on the team. Shout out to Cliff Kingsbury and that offense with Jaden Daniels. Only thing is, I feel like it's still too simple. And once the NFL does catch up, they will catch up. Like when he played Mike Zimmer, it was a little bit difficult. But I'm happy for Washington, even though we are rivals. It's been too long of grim. I don't want to wish that upon somebody forever. It would be good, but but
20 years is enough, I guess.
20,
right?
I think
sick and tired of this.
Yeah, I think Jaden Daniels is hurt. That's the thing with dual threat quarterbacks. Man, you gotta be selective with it, especially with the running ability, because I'm telling you, that's why people think these linebackers are like dirty, but no, when they hit you once, they just trying to send a message. And I think the message has gotten across to Jaden Daniels, but hopefully he just grow and learns, as he gets older, to not put his body on the line like that. So,
what are your thoughts from a Cowboys perspective, real quick, just on what the Commanders are doing? Because I know it's got to be different to watch it unfold from this kind of side of things. You know what I mean?
Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it with anybody. Yeah, I hate the Eagles. I hate it. Like I hate it. You know, like I mean, as soon as y'all made the pick, like even back in the draft, I knew. I'm like, oh man, Jaden Daniels has a higher ceiling than Caleb. Not a higher ceiling, a higher floor than Caleb.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so and with Dan Quinn, I'm like he because I feel like politics got in the way when he was here in Dallas. He couldn't get everyone he wanted. And now, like, he has those 4 D tackles y'all got. I hate y'all. Y'all stole one from us in the draft too. I wanted. He's able to build.
You wanted Newton?
Yes, Newton. I wanted Newton.
Yeah, Johnny Newton.
Because I'm like, y'all already got like Payne and
Allen and Mathis.
I know.
Like, you have enough. So yeah, he's building something. Only thing he needs to get the DBs. I was very surprised. I let Forbes go.
I ain't.
I know. I just hate to see like a first round pick get let go this soon. But if he's a bust, he's a bust. Because that's just years wasted for him to develop. But yeah. Other than that, I mean, I hate it, but I am still happy that it makes our division look better. I guess.
No doubt. John, weird one. I mean, you must have been going through it a little bit on Sunday. You go from probably thinking, man, maybe I can kick my feet up in the second half here to wait a minute, but you got it done. Talk to me about what you saw, though.
I saw our typical fourth quarter defense decide to have an aneurysm, get a stroke, and lay down and lie out for the 1-2, almost the 3 count. Let's be honest. They had that 2-point in the bag of Juwan Johnson, the TikTok husband, doesn't have bricks for hands. He doesn't have hands just for Christmas decorations because he had Iganagami beat on that 2-point. And if he has another 2 inches pause on those hands, he makes that catch and we lose that game. We are here missing field goals with our 7th kicker of the season.
Oof.
Out here making us look like the Jets and the Chiefs with our kicker selections.
Damn.
Yeah, DB's not looking the greatest. Benjamin St. Juice, who myself, shout out to Tone, Pro Tech Sports Network. We've dubbed him since last season St. Groupie because we can bet. I might need to propose this to Bet US. Shout out to them. 1.5 DPIs per game on St. Juice, and about every week it almost hits.
Oh, damn.
What y'all drafting?
Man, this week he played 3 snaps. One of those was illegal use of the hands.
Damn. He's probably hanging around with Joey Porter Jr. My goodness.
I mean, he's doing something because the next one he gets Burton beat for a catch. I'm like, all right, get him out the game. I don't want to see this Canadian bacon on the on the field right now. Offense looked a little slow for whatever reason. Like first quarter, we were cooking. Terry 2 TDs makes another appearance, has 11 on the year, his best in his career, on pace for like 1,100 yards. With the least amount of targets and catches in like the top 10, mind you. Terry making the Pro Bowl, second, wide receiver in the NFC behind Jay Jettis, because why not? Jaden making that Pro Bowl, guaranteed. Something, I mean, we were out without Tyler Biadasz. He got sick before the game, so that takes out your captain on the offensive line, which doesn't help. So that takes care of like 3 sacks that we gave up. We gave up 7. On the day, which was diabolical.
Especially from Jaden Daniels, the guy that can escape pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, Chase Young had 2. Cam Jordan had 2. Carl Granderson had 1. Demario Davis, I think, had 1.
Yeah.
Man, and it's all they don't have talent. They have good talent on that team, and we took Marshawn Lattimore from them. Making his debut, had 0 targets for 0 yards for 0 catches. So you love to see it for our DBs. But our fourth quarter defense just disappears like a Thanos snap in Infinity War. Just disappears when you need them the most. They disappear like the Avatar. So I don't know what we need to do. I don't know if it's the coaching. I don't know if it's the talent. I don't know if it's because we had a week 14 bye week, so we still tired.
They're trying to hold tradition, man. They're just trying to hold tradition. 22 years, you gotta keep it going strong,
man. I said this with one of our other co-hosts, Andrew, shout out to him on our last episode, is if this was a game of halves, we win the game if this was only a first half game. We would have lost if this was a second half game.
Right.
Yep.
And it doesn't make any sense because we're good for the first half. We start to tail off in the third quarter, but you know what? We're still fighting. We're still keeping things close, just like the last Philly game. In the fourth quarter, we're like, see y'all later.
So what are your thoughts on this team moving towards the playoffs?
Keep things consistent. If you can keep things the way that were the first 8 games of the season, you good. You can beat Atlanta. We need to beat Philly going into this game on Sunday, which I'll talk about later tonight on the next episode. But sit at 9-5. I think if Green Bay keeps slipping things and we have another 2 wins, 1 Atlanta, and we split one in the division, we're locked for the 7th seed. I would prefer the 6th because I don't got to play Philly for the 3rd time.
Right.
But it is what it is because Saquon is an MVP candidate for a reason. I had this team at 8 wins for the ceiling during the offseason. So to have 9 right now, we are 7-5 or 8-5 by the bye week. I was ecstatic. I was happy. But you look at the stats. Cliff Kingsbury's second out of the season don't look so hot.
Win's a win, though. You got to take it right now at this point of the year. I know it was ugly, but once again, if you haven't won a game off a bye on the road in over 2 decades, you'll take them any way you can get them. Huge one this upcoming week, though, John. Huge one this upcoming week. That's when you want that second half defense to hopefully show up, that fourth quarter defense. You're going to need it against Philly the way that they have been playing. Speaking of those Eagles, I know Al's not here, but we'll try to do his Eagles justice on our way out the door here. The Eagles get it done in the Battle of Pennsylvania pretty easily. No George Pickens, and the Steelers do not look like a playoff type offense without him. 13 points scored. Russell Wilson, a $128 on the day. Najee Harris led all rushers for the Steelers with 14 yards. This was an abysmal day offensively for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Philadelphia Eagles got it done with relative ease, 27-13. Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown back to being best friends now. Jalen Hurts, 292 touchdowns, and the Eagles keep rolling 12-2. And with the Lions going down to my Buffalo Bills, that 1 seed door has swung wide open, and it's anybody's to grab at this point. The Eagles,
it's between Detroit and it's between Minnesota.
And Minnesota's the one nobody's talking about, right? I mean, just nobody's even considering it, but it's just as open for them as it is for Philly. John, I'll go right back to you here. So, Philly, your thoughts, because in the beginning of the year, I don't know, after that loss to Atlanta, I know it feels like a lifetime ago, but when they blew that late game lead, I'm thinking, man, this is just not going to be the Eagles team of a couple of years ago. It's going to be the Eagles team of last year. It's been the opposite. They've been nothing but nails ever since. Your thoughts on Philly right now going into the playoffs?
I'm thinking y'all going 1-1 to start the season, 2-1. I'm like, all right, I like how this is going to finish. You know, if you're on pace like an 8-9, 9-8, 10-6 type of season, and then you'll start winning games. I'm like, all right, y'all need to calm down already. All right. I mean, they are one of the best teams in the league on paper and really on the field. Saquon Barkley, again, is an MVP candidate for a reason. If it wasn't for that non-existent game against Pittsburgh, really, I didn't see him really do a whole bunch. He would have closed the door or closed the gap between him and Josh Allen, because I think Josh Allen wins MVP this season. They're good. Again, one of the best teams in the league. I don't want to say it because we're all division rivals here, but again, they're 12-2 for a reason. They've already clinched their playoff berth, whether it's a wild card spot or they win the division. They're on pace to win the division. If they can just keep the drama in the locker room and not on the sidelines, I think we would all, or at least Philly fans, would be happy. We would prefer them to keep being dramatic, little a-holes, and keep Nick Sirianni talking to fans and not talking on the sidelines. But they've been a class act organization for a while now. Harry Roseman knows how to draft these kids. I appreciate the 3rd round pick y'all gave us for Jahan Dotson, because he ain't doing jack for y'all. I appreciate y'all, but again, we're just one of the best teams in the league, one of the top teams in the NFC for a reason. I don't think they're gonna beat a Buffalo, because Buffalo's just firing on cylinders, but I could see them holding it close and beating this defensive depleted Detroit Lions. They have 17 defensive guys on IR. You have a starting defense with rotation guys on IR.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
KB, Philly past Detroit is the team to beat in the NFC, Super Bowl favorite.
Yeah, I mean, Just because of the injuries, I would say Philly is the team to be, because Detroit, with all those injuries, I mean, Detroit is still finding ways to stay in games. I mean, they came down to the line with Buffalo, and they came back in that game despite having all those injuries. And now we're hearing that Aiden Hutchinson is trying to come back if they make a Super Bowl run, and David Montgomery avoided season-ending IR. So, they may get some pieces back before, it's all said and done in their playoff race. But as far as the Eagles go, I mean, they're looking really good, man. I'll say, I said in the beginning of the year, I predicted this Eagles team, and everybody laughed at me when we did the preseason predictions. I had them going 14-3, something like that, and everybody was laughing at me. They are on pace to go 14-3. I believe with 2 games left, right? There's 2 or 3 games left.
3. Yeah.
3 games left, so they can still hit that. And they got the Giants last game of the season, so that's a win right there. Even if they bench their starters, so because nobody's gonna stop our tank anyway. As far as that goes.
We continue to see Johnny Wilson, Kenneth Gainwell,
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett.
Oh yeah, Johnny Wilson's gonna have like 80 yards and 2 touchdowns on us. But yeah, when it comes to the Steelers game, man, the Steelers had every opportunity, man. They had a successful flea flicker. They had 2 fumbles in the first quarter that they couldn't capitalize on. They scored 3 points off of those 2 fumbles. They couldn't get anything going on offense. Defensively, couldn't stop anything. I mean, defensively, I don't know if they were like expecting deep passes all the time, but they left their the first 10 yards wide open for Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown to just feed off of that, and they just built on the run after the catch. Jalen Hurts looked like he had something to prove out there, because he's had like 3 straight 120-yard days, and then he comes in his press conference like, oh, this is what you want to see? I mean, to be honest with you, Jalen Hurts, I mean, he didn't play terribly at all. He played great. That's because everybody was wide damn open. Everybody was butt naked open downfield, so it was too easy. I mean, I could have made those throws downfield. The Steelers did not look like they wanted to win the game at all. This is going to be the Steelers team that is going to show up towards the tail end of the season in the playoffs. I don't think they have any they don't have any right being in the playoffs, especially in the AFC. They're going to get absolutely demolished if they continue to play that way. And without George Pickens, it really showed that without George Pickens, they can't get anything going in the air. As Zebot said, it was he had 120 yards in the air, something like that. Russell Wilson did. And then they couldn't get their run game going. Najee Harris continues to be one of the most overrated running backs in the NFL. He sucks. I don't know why people like him. He sucks. He's not good. The guy's slower than molasses. So, I think it was a great win for Philly. I think this really showed more about who the Steelers are, more so than who the Eagles are, because the Eagles were already playing extremely good football. This was more of a test to see if the Steelers can compete with double-digit win type teams like the Eagles, and they just can't. The Steelers, I can't believe they have 10 wins. That's insane to me. They are not that good of a team. I think they peaked already, and they were exposed by the Eagles. The Eagles continue to ride high, and I believe they have like the number 1 defense right now, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. They went from one of the worst defenses last year to now one of the best with a bunch of upgrades, of course, but they are riding high with Vic Fangio. So shout out to the Eagles. They are definitely in contention for the number 1 seed.
Lou, your thoughts on the Eagles?
Oh, I hate it. I hate it the most. But from the Philly and Pittsburgh game, listen, it just proved to me, because I think I predicted the Pittsburgh defense, they're going to sell out on the run. I think everyone's going to do that. And, going into playoffs, just looking forward, teams make you play left-handed. Well, the Philadelphia's left-handed is the passing game, whether you like it or not. And it's a testament to it, because if you look at the books, all the books are catered to the passing game. So, so he can, Jalen Hurts had a great game. Cool. Like he was saying, everyone was running wide open. I don't want to take it away from you, but
right.
You have been struggling all game. I still needed some more. Eagles fans can call me haters, but listen, in a 25 game sample size, if you do it 3 times, I'm a man of numbers. I don't care if the 3 times do have weight, because at the end of the day, your left hand is the passing game. They're going to make you pass the ball. And that goes to show that's the Eagles' goal. And if they fail, it'll be failed because of 2 people, Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts. Because Kellen Moore, with the abundance of weapons on the offense, he's still doing them Dallas ways. He'll still get too pretty and pass the ball 3 times on the down. The key for them to win, to make it to the Super Bowl, even have a chance to win, is running the ball. Now, everyone's counting out Detroit. Listen, they still have a run game.
Mm-hmm.
And they still can defend the run. If you have those two things, you have a shot in every game you in, and they do it better than anybody. It's just now they can't put 50 on you. Now they got to slow the game down. So I don't want to count them completely out. And I don't want to just shoot. I definitely don't want to shoot in Philly for a Super Bowl win because there's just so many people on this team I hate because they just riding the coattails of talent. Like, like Nick Sirianni, for one, he's just a CEO head coach. He does absolutely nothing on that football team. And he's supposed to be an offensive-minded head coach. But, yeah, that's the end of my rant.
Yeah, Eagles, man, tough to figure out. Just Big Dom breaking up fights on the sideline. These guys just continue to win. I don't know what's going on over there, but they probably should just keep it up because it seems to be working. So, Philly rolling heading into the postseason, and we'll see if they end up representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. Right now, they have the best chance to do it, so it will be interesting. We're going to talk more football on a later episode in the week. We're going to be previewing the Week 16 games, fellas, but tonight, that's going to do it for us, recapping Week 15. On your way out the door, like button if you could, and subscribe button if you could. That way we can notify you of the upcoming episodes, including that Week 16 preview. Also, all of the lines for Week 16 are up right now on BetUS. Go take advantage of the promo code YouTube150 and get in on those lines. That promo code will get you 150% sign-up bonus, up to $2,000 on your first deposit, and 125% bonus on your next two after that. For Lou, John, KB, I'm your host, Z-Bot. Thanks so much for tuning into the NFC East Roundtable, and we'll see you on the next one.